channel. There's something happening here on YouTube that I am very eager to discuss. There is a channel network that has decided that they have outgrown YouTube, the platform that they have been on for years, and that they are moving on to bigger and better things by making a streaming platform so that now if you want to watch their content, you have to pay them. Of course, their existing audience is not too happy to hear this. They've been watching for free for years, and now suddenly they're being told if they want to continue to watch this content that they have to pay monthly for it. People were not too pleased. But before we get into all that, if you like watching commentary videos of the latest and lamest things here on the internet, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. I try to upload once weekly, as well as going live to play video games a few days a week. Anyone who does that, thank you so much, and I appreciate you. For anyone who's been on YouTube for a while, I'm sure you've heard of BuzzFeed Unsolved. They were quite popular for many years, and they made content about mysteries, about true crime, ghost hunting, different things like that. They would make videos about it, and they got quite a bit of views on YouTube in the early days. I was never a fan of this channel myself, but I was aware of it just because of how popular and well-known it was, and I was aware of the hosts, Shane Madej and Ryan Bergara. Around 2019, Shane and Ryan, as well as another colleague at BuzzFeed, Stephen Lim, they decided that they would finish out their contractual obligations working at BuzzFeed and that they would strike out on their own and create their own channel. For a couple of years between the time they decided they wanted to leave and the time where they finally fulfilled all of their contractual obligations to BuzzFeed, they were working on their own channel on the side for about 2 years there, getting it ready so that when they were done with BuzzFeed, they could immediately jump ship from there to their own channel and just have it ready to go. They basically just rebranded everything they were already doing with BuzzFeed to a new name. So for example, they were doing BuzzFeed Unsolved Supernatural, where they were doing ghost hunting stuff. They basically just created a new name for it, Ghost Files, and that's what they call it, and they continue to do ghost hunting videos, but on their own channel, Watcher, instead. When they were finally done with BuzzFeed at the end of 2021, they finally went to their Watcher channel full time. And current day, it's only been 2 years and 5 months since they went full time. They have 2.8 million subscribers right now, and almost all of their videos going back a few months have 1 million views or more. So they were quite successful with this channel in the couple years that they've been doing it. Many people that have that many subscribers had to build up their channels for many more years than just 2 to get to those numbers. So they did a very good job success-wise in a very short amount of time. Apparently, this amount of success is not enough for them, though, because they feel that after just 2 years and 5 months, full-time, that they have outgrown YouTube and that they need to go off-platform to continue growing at the pace that they would like to. They posted an announcement video to YouTube this last week saying that all of their current content that's on YouTube is going to be moved over to their own streaming platform called Watcher TV at the end of May, and that if you want to continue to watch any of their content that's been free this entire time, that you have to pay $6 a month to view it. So let's go over their announcement video, and I'll cut in where I feel it's necessary to discuss what they're saying. I'm actually going to skip the first 5 minutes or so of the video. It's a lot of fluff and showing their early career and all their success at BuzzFeed, and then they talk a little bit about leaving BuzzFeed and making the Watcher channel, and it's all just kind of not important to the topic, so I skipped all that, and we're going to just show what I think is most important and what needs to be discussed.
I'm so proud of what we've built here at Watcher. My proudest moments have been being able to hire incredible people. So growing our staff from 3 to 6 to 10 to 20 to 25.
So he talks about how fast they expanded with their staff. They went from the main 3 guys to 6 to 10 to 20 to 25 people in only 2 years. They are now paying the salaries of 25 people. And I think that's the main issue here. I think that they hired far too many people for the amount of money they were actually making on the channels and the advertising, the Patreon and the merch. Like, they aren't making enough money to have that many people working for them. I think they have this goal in mind of constant expansion, just growing and growing and growing and growing up and up and up and up. And that is not how business works. You don't constantly grow. There are ebbs and flows. So for them to expect to just constantly expand at an exponential actual rate is extremely unrealistic to how businesses actually work. I don't think they realized just how hard it would be to do all of this stuff themselves. They didn't have to do any of the admin work that's involved in having a YouTube channel. It was all done by BuzzFeed. So now that they have to do that stuff themselves, they realize these three guys can't do it alone. So they hired a butt ton of people, way more people than they probably should have, honestly. And they have them doing these jobs, but now they're having the opposite end of that, where they have to pay all these people, and now all that money that would have gone towards making content, which they want to make high quality content, TV level content is what they say, and they can't do that now because almost all of the money is going to pay the people and not into the budget for making content.
I'm very happy with the progress that we've made over here at Watcher over these past 4.5 years. But it feels like we are just at the point where we've hit a bit of a ceiling in terms of what YouTube is able to offer.
They think that after only 2 years and 5 months full time that they have hit the ceiling and are growing past YouTube. I don't understand how they think that. It's honestly quite delusional.
More than 50% of our business is run by advertising. We are relying on ads to make money, to pay the bills, to run this office, to make beautiful content for all of you guys out there. Unfortunately, over time, the deals that we were getting in 2019, 2020 are looking a lot different than they are today. We're making something for two audiences. We're making it for the fans, all of you out there, and we're also making it to please the advertisers. It's difficult to make the stuff that we want to make and also then appeal to the advertisers as well.
He talks about the fact that they have to change certain things about their content to please advertisers. And yeah, that's been a thing for quite a while now. They're paying you and they're sponsoring the content that you're making. They get a say in what you post. Like, that's just part of it. If you're trying to sell ad slots for people, they're gonna have some say in what their name is being put on. That's just how it works. I don't know why they're acting like they're above that for some reason. They also go on to talk about the ad deals they were getting in 2019 and 2020 being much better than the ones that they get today. Well, they were still working at BuzzFeed in 2019 and 2020, so that's one reason why they shouldn't even bring that into account, and they weren't full-time yet on the Watcher channel. But even if they are talking about the ads they got for their channel when they first started, did they forget what happened at the end of 2019 and into 2020? COVID had a huge effect on YouTube advertisers, and there are not nearly as many now as there used to be back then. It changed things completely, and I don't know why they would use those years to compare it to. It's just not comparable.
It costs a certain amount to make content in the way that we do it. We try to put things on the screen that we feel adheres to a certain level of quality that you would find on, say, a Netflix or something like that. But in doing so, it does cost a certain amount. Like, for example, a Ghost Files episode. First, we have to travel to the location itself. We have to pay the location fee. We have to pay freelance staff that comes to help us shoot that when we're shooting in the studio. We have to pay for the studio to shoot the actual episode in. Then we have to pay for post. Before that, we also have to do the pre-production of the episode. And when you add that all up, we're talking about an end of a season that costs hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm not sitting here complaining that is the bed we've made. Everyone has different missions they're marching towards on YouTube. Ours was to make a television show. And, over time, you start to realize, like, hey, maybe television shows aren't meant for YouTube. Perhaps we should find a different place that's better suited to the content that we're making and can support the dollar amount that we're putting into each of these episodes so that we're not constantly running around trying to find sources of revenue to support the model.
Ryan goes through and breaks down the cost of creating one of their ghost hunting videos, and he says by the end of everything, when they are fully done with it and ready to upload it, it costs hundreds of thousands of dollars to make an episode. Now, yeah, that's the case. There is a cost to doing business, and most likely they would have known that before they left BuzzFeed and came out to do their own thing. They can't act like they were oblivious of the fact that someone has to pay to create content. Content is not always free to make. If you're going to the location of a haunting, yeah, you gotta get there. That's just part of the business model. I don't know why they're acting so surprised about the fact that they have to pay to create content, especially of the quality that they're trying to make. They talk about wanting to make TV quality. TV quality costs money. And then he says that he's not complaining about it. But honestly, the way that he said it really sounded like complaining to me. Like, oh, somebody has to pay these costs to make this content. Like, they don't want to pay the cost, they just want to get the profit. It's just really insensitive and entitled to talk about it like that. I just find it kind of disingenuous that their mission statement from the start has been to get people access to TV quality uploads on YouTube for free so that people have access to better quality on YouTube, because that's not something that's super common on YouTube. Like they said, especially at the time when they first started, there wasn't such good quality stuff on YouTube yet. So why, if their mission statement is to get this good quality content to people for free on YouTube, why are they now acting like they need this payment? Like they have to get paid to continue even making this good quality. It's like their mission statement no longer makes sense when you compare it to the moves they're making as a business. It's just very strange to me that they would have that as their mission statement and then do the exact opposite.
We work from the other direction here, which is like we start first by looking at what we want to say and think about and talk about, and that's always informed our content, which is why I think our content doesn't necessarily always like trend. We've trended quite a few times, okay? But that's never, that's never our goal. And I think by that token, YouTube has never been like the perfect fit for us.
What did he just say? Did he just say that they make content backwards? Because he then described it as thinking of an idea that you want to make and then making it as doing things backwards. I'm pretty sure that every single person that makes content thinks of an idea and then makes their content. Nobody is making their content without an idea. Why did he say that they work backwards? It's not, what is he even saying? And then right after that weird statement he made that made no sense, he talks about the fact that they don't always trend when they upload now that they're on Watcher. And before he can even finish his statement that they don't usually trend, his ego is so big that he cuts himself off and has to remind us all in a really braggadocious way that he's trended plenty of times, whether it's on Watcher or BuzzFeed. They're famous, don't you know? And then he finishes by saying that trending isn't their goal. He finishes this statement by saying that YouTube has never been a good fit for them. The website that made him is not ideal for what they want to do. Let me repeat that. The website that he is the most known for being on is the only thing that most people even know him for, is being on BuzzFeed Unsolved. He says that this platform has never been a good fit for him. How? How are you going to say that? It made you most of your money. I just can't believe that he said that. Now, I understand that YouTube is not perfect, and there are a lot of things that could be improved upon, but to say something like that the website that even made your career possible is not and has never been a good fit for you is really kind of not a nice thing to say. And he basically is just acting like he's been better than YouTube and has always been better than YouTube this entire time. It's just really arrogant to say something like that, and I really don't think that they should have put that in their goodbye YouTube video. Like, they're a little bit too excited to be able to ditch this entire platform. I honestly think that they're placing a lot of the blame with YouTube itself, when in reality it's actually mostly a them problem. All of the reasons that they gave in this first video for why they wanted to switch to Watcher TV was just basically like, oh, it costs a lot of money to make content, and YouTube, we've hit a ceiling. We're not making enough to keep making this level of content. That is definitely a them problem, and I think, again, it leads back to the fact that they hired so many people. Most YouTube channels do not have 25 people, and I don't think they need 25 people to do the things that they are trying to do. So I really think that that's the biggest reason right there, is they hired way too many people, and it has nothing to do with YouTube as a platform at all.
All that being said, we have realized that it would be great if we could find a way to rely less on advertising, not make it such a big part of our business. And so we've been working over the past few months and years, like, how can we make this business more sustainable? How can we make something where we can make the things that we want to make for all of you guys and not be worried about all the other forces that are here? In terms of where this company is going and where I believe that we can be the most successful, YouTube is no longer the place for that.
Stephen talks for a bit about wanting 100% creative freedom with making the content that they want to make without advertisers being able to have a say in anything or change anything before it's posted. That is just a pipe dream. And I'm sure every single creator that makes content on YouTube would love that to be the case, but that is just not the landscape here. You make only a certain amount from your views, and if you want to make more than that, you have to work with advertisers or sell products. So if you want to work with an advertiser, they're sponsoring your creation of your video and they're putting their name on something. And they don't want to put their name on something that isn't the way that they want or doesn't reflect the values that they hold. So yes, I understand that there are advertisers that make big demands that they probably shouldn't be making, and that's not right. Overstepping that boundary too far across the line, that's not okay. But that is the normal way of things of an advertiser. They're not going to put their name on something unless it's the way that they want it to be. So basically, what they did was they jumped ship from BuzzFeed thinking that they could sustain whatever they were already doing, but for themselves instead, so they could keep all the money instead of having to give a lot of it to BuzzFeed and only making some of it. And they found out 2 years and 5 months later that they couldn't sustain that model because of whatever reason. Specifically, I think it's because they hired too many people. But they decide, okay, let's do it again. We'll jump ship again from YouTube to our own platform. We'll just make our own whole website for it. And, that way without the pesky advertisers, the ones that pay their bills and have for years at this point. I just really can't believe the delusional entitlement that these people feel. They think that they are better than everyone else making content on YouTube and that they are so far above it that they can just hop to a website and that they'll have all of the people that can afford to follow them. And that is just not the case. I'm sure there's a lot of fans of them that could afford it that are just like, no, absolutely not, because the way that they went about it is terrible. It's all just very out of touch. And then he goes on to say something along the lines of, YouTube is no longer the place for us to be successful. And he is not kidding, but not for the reason that he thought. It is no longer a place for them to be successful because of this video that they uploaded. They have soured a lot of their own audience that they would just ditch them without a second thought and not care that they can't see their content anymore. It was just really insensitive the way that they went about it, and I think that is the main reason people are so upset, is just what they posted and the way they went about it was terrible.
For anybody who's watched or supported us to this point, truly, thank you. The goal was always to make television caliber quality content. And not just for YouTube, but for you guys. I guess we just hope you guys follow us this one last time.
Ryan finishes off the beginning segment of this video talking about the audience, thanking them for their support even though they're ditching them completely, and then restates their goal about making high quality content, which still again makes no sense now that they are trying to charge money for it. And then he even says at the end that he hopes that they follow them one last time, since they know that people have already followed them from BuzzFeed to Watchers, so he's hoping that they'll do it again. But when he says that, they have not yet said in the video that it's paid. So they're saying, I'll hope that you follow us, but then nobody knows yet that it has to be a paid subscription. So it's kind of just disingenuous, and it's just a weird way that they went about it. This video that they uploaded is so weird.
Watcher is an ad-free, independent streaming service dedicated to providing you guys the television caliber content that you know and love. But you're probably wondering, how is it going to be different than the YouTube experience?
The new streamer, I think, is a place that reflects what our content is. High quality series in season form, beautifully organized, ad-free. It's what we were destined to be.
So in the last 2 months, they have only uploaded 8 videos. Why are they making a streaming service when they only uploaded 8 videos over a 2-month span? That is not enough content. Even with all of their backlog of content, it's not enough content and not enough new content to make a streaming service. That's just, I don't understand why they thought that would be such a good idea. And then it's supposed to be ad-free because they don't like advertisers, right? But instead of actually having a sponsor like you normally would, they're basically forcing their audience to become the sponsors of their content. If you want to still watch our videos, you have to pay monthly, and we will take that money and use it to make the content. So they're basically cutting out the middleman of the advertisers and just going straight to the audience. Like, okay, we're done with the advertisers. Now it's on you. You have to pay for us to make the content that you want to see. And that is just not how things are. Most people in any audience are not going to be okay with that.
First of all, bigger and better content.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to improve Ghost Files. I mean, I'm very happy with how the show has been, produced so far, but the streamer's gonna give us an opportunity to really add to it from a format standpoint, but we'll also be able to take bigger swings and go international, like we're going to the UK and we're going to Scotland. Also, the more resources we have, the more time we could focus on making the show better, and every season of that show, I want it to be better than the last, and I'm very excited for season 3, which you guys will see on the streamer.
They start talking about all the improvements they want to make to the shows, bigger and better content. But the thing is they're talking like they've already planned this stuff out. Like they already have plans in the works for these things. They mentioned that they want to go international for the ghost hunting instead of just in the US. Now they can go to the UK and Scotland because it costs a lot more money to fly over there, right? So they are talking about all of this as if it's already successful. Like it's guaranteed to make them more money than YouTube does. And I don't know why they're talking about it in that way, because it is absolutely not going to happen. It's like they just assumed it would be insanely successful without ever thinking about the fact that it could fail.
The advent of this streamer has allowed me to bring the gang back together.
That's true.
Adam,
Your pals.
Andrew, the old friends from Worth It, and we're going to be launching the spiritual successor, which is going to be called Travel Season.
Are you excited to work with Steven again?
Yeah. After 12 seasons of Worth It, it feels great to make something that is very similar and based on a lot of those experiences, but we get to dispense with all the stuff that we don't like.
So if you want to catch that, you can watch it on May 31st. It's going to be a full 6-episode season, and you can watch it all, if you remember, on the streamer.
They then start talking about the fact that they want to bring old friends back to be in content with them again. And I assumed that they were talking about, again, if they're successful, that they'll bring these people back and they'll film something with them. And they wanted to do a rebrand of an old BuzzFeed travel show and just rename it like they had with the ghost hunting and the other things that they're doing. But as it kept going on, I realized it's already done. They've already filmed this show. It's already ready to go. And this travel show is actually the main flagship show that they're using to try to get people to go watch it on the Watcher TV platform. It's not going to be available on YouTube at all. You have to pay $6 a month or $60 a year to get access to the entire show. At first, he really did make it seem like they were going to be able to bring the old friends back because of the Watcher TV platform. But the thing is they already made it, and the platform didn't come out until they posted that video. So it really doesn't make sense. They made this before they even announced it. It's already ready. And I also find it very weird that they chose a travel show to be the main show that they're using to advertise this new platform, because they're known for ghost hunting and mystery videos. Why are they making their flagship show a travel show with 2 people from another channel? It doesn't make any sense.
And not only will there be new, fresh shows, we're going to put it up to the members to resurrect a show from the past. There are a lot of shows that maybe didn't do phenomenally on YouTube that would be performing perfectly fine on a streamer.
What a weird, wonderful idea.
What a weird, wonderful idea that would be.
They also mentioned that members of the Watcher TV platform will be able to vote at a later time to bring back an old show that had been canceled and do new episodes of it for the platform. And so it's basically another way to make a jab at YouTube, because certain things don't get views and certain things do, and that they had to cancel certain shows that they liked because they weren't doing well on YouTube. But it would do great on a streaming platform, right? Yeah, maybe, but not yours.
I'm excited about the prospect of bringing on some new talent, some new faces, and making content around them. And, being able to shape some shows that don't always involve us is something I'm really excited about.
After all that and saying that they hit a ceiling at YouTube and everything that they just talked about and the fact that they expanded so fast to hire that many people, he's still talking about hiring more people. They can't even afford to pay the people that they have, and he wants to get more people to make new shows with. It just doesn't make any sense. If you're not doing well as a business, why would you be talking about hiring more people? And they already hired those other 2 guys that they brought back, so it's like now it's at 27 people and they're talking about hiring a few more. It just doesn't make any sense why they think they could hire more people when they're already having this much trouble.
But you know, all this to say, you'll still occasionally see us on YouTube. We're gonna post trailers for our shows there. We're gonna have the season premieres of all of our series on there. But if you wanna watch the full seasons of all of our content, the streamer will be the exclusive home for all of that starting May 31st.
Steven, talk about money.
Yeah, what's this price?
You can become a member of Watcher for $5.99 a month or $59.99 a year.
We want to keep the price low enough where anybody and everybody is able to afford it, but it also has to support the things that we do here. So that was the number that just made the most sense for the streamer.
And look, you can share it, you know, with your friends.
That's true.
What are we gonna do?
They say, don't worry folks, we're still going to be posting on YouTube occasionally. We'll post all our trailers for all of our shows in the very first episode of every new season to get you intrigued, just enough to pay for the rest of the season. And it's $5.99 a month or $59.99 a year. So if you get the year subscription, it's basically like you're paying for 10 full months and you get 2 months for free. There's only a 2-month discount when you are paying for the year one. And they don't make a lot of content. From what I could see on their channel from the last few months, they only seem to upload 1 show at a time. There's never like episodes of different shows coming out at once. It's like 1 show that they focus on at a time. And it's like usually 12 episodes in a season from what I could see. But they only upload like once a week. There's just not enough content there. And if they really did only upload 1 episode a week and you're paying $6 a month to view that, you're paying $1.50 per episode. And their episodes are only like 30 to 40 minutes. You can buy entire seasons of shows for that amount or less. It's just too much for the content. Their content is not worth that much. They talk about the price being $6 a month. They said that price made perfect sense to them because it's affordable for almost anyone, and that if you still can't afford it, then they make a joke that you can just get a friend to split it with you, and what are they going to do about it? Making fun of Netflix, basically, for limiting that stuff. But the way that they talk about the money is so entitled. Like, they don't realize that $6 is a lot of money for what they're offering. They are offering basically nothing for $60 a year. It's just crazy.
Keep your eyes glued on all of our social channels. We'll be announcing some sweet opportunities to win merch, a free annual subscription, and a bunch of other wacky stuff from us. For those of you that sign up before May 31st, because we are going to have a little bit of a beta period, which will be launching today, actually.
Right now, you can sign up right now.
As of today, the release of this video, April 19th.
Think of this beta period as a soft launch, an opportunity for early adopters to sign up, help us work out the kinks, and provide feedback to make it a better experience for everybody.
Yeah, the beta will be a transitional period where you'll still be able to access content on YouTube, but beginning May 31st, you'll need to become a member of our streaming service to access full seasons and new releases.
And as a thank you to our first members, those that sign up before May 31st will have the opportunity to vote to bring back your favorite show. And not only that, but we're giving members who sign up before May 31st a whole 30% off their annual subscription.
The end of the video is them talking about the beta period. So from the day that they uploaded the video until May 31st when they're officially launching, they're having a beta period where people can sign up early. They're incentivizing people to sign up early by saying that they're giving away merch. They're giving away free year subscriptions if you sign up under monthly. And if you sign up under the yearly subscription, you actually get a 30% discount, but not for monthly, only for the whole year subscription. They're also asking for feedback and help from their audience that becomes a member of this platform to help them work out all the kinks and any problems they may have going forward with this new website because they haven't done that yet. So basically, they're asking for free labor from the audience who is paying to be there. Love that. After they uploaded this video and it became more well known that they were doing this change, a lot of people were really upset with them. Most specifically, their patrons over on Patreon were really upset because they didn't know ahead of time that this was going to happen. Such a major change, you would think you would tell your paid subscribers first and then upload it to the video, but no. They did not give them any warning. People that had paid sometimes even months ahead of time to be a patron, they are losing access to the things that they would have already paid money to view.
So look, everyone's talking about the whole Watcher Entertainment thing, the big drama that they're leaving YouTube, making their own streaming service, and no one's thrilled about it. But I just wanted to share my 2 cents as someone who is a patron of theirs on Patreon, who already gives them money, way more than I should, because I'm silly, because I make poor financial choices, and because I like having access to things like the live streams that they do once a month that are these really intimate, fun things where, you know, they'll answer whatever you want, and it's really cool. They'll talk about things they don't talk about in other spaces, or have access to things like audio commentaries, or their little weekly Watcher Weekly Plus show, things like that. People who woke up today to find out they actually don't belong to a Patreon that supports Watcher Entertainment. They belong to a Patreon that supports the Watcher podcasts. Apparently that's what I belong to now. I didn't know. No one bothered to tell me until suddenly it happened already. So sucks to be the people who paid a year in advance for Patreon. Look, maybe people don't want to hear from someone who already supports them financially, but y'all didn't want to maybe like give us a hint that all the stuff that we did pay for is not going to be there anymore. I mean, we'll have access to the archives, but like no more live streams, no more any of that. So, I mean, my monthly spending just got less, so that's cool. What y'all doing, guys? I do want to make note of the fact that the last Watcher live stream was this week. It was earlier this week. They could have maybe, like, given us, not even told us exactly, but maybe hinted, like, hey, some things in Patreon are going to change, or whatever it may be. Because they basically made a live stream that one of them wasn't even at, where they couldn't really talk about anything. So that's the last live stream we have to go on, that's the goodbye stream, is one of them missing, and no one can talk about anything.
They are no longer going to be subscribed to the entire Watcher network as they had thought. They changed it overnight when they were going to upload this video announcement of the change going to the Watcher TV platform. They changed their Patreon from being for the entire network to just for the podcasts. So they used to have access to all these different side contents, like little things here and there that they would post to the Patreon only. They are now going to be posting that stuff to the Watcher TV. So anyone who paid for the Patreon actually doesn't get any access to the things that they already paid for anymore because they are changing it so much. They didn't even give them a chance to agree or disagree. They just changed it without saying anything and assumed everybody would be okay with that, apparently. So through her video, we are finding out that they had a chance to tell their patrons a week before this announcement came out, and instead they only had 2 of the 3 guys there for the live stream, and they couldn't talk about anything. I don't know why. She didn't say why, but she just said they couldn't talk about anything, and so they didn't. So they really did have a chance to mention it, that, hey, some major changes are coming that could affect your access to the different things that you've already paid for through Patreon. They just stayed completely silent. They didn't warn anybody and just acted like it was business as usual. And that is a really scummy thing to do as content creators. So they posted the announcement video on a Friday, and everybody was so upset about it. They were so pissed all weekend talking about it, discussing the situation and how weird it was the way that they announced it. And then finally, after the weekend ended on Monday, they uploaded a 3-minute video, basically an update to the situation, having seen all of the negative feedback.
Hey everyone, last Friday we announced that we're leaving YouTube and launching our new streaming platform.
We messed up.
No, you think?
A lot of you spoke out with extremely valid comments and concerns, and we want to take the time now to address those.
We've been reading the things you've been saying, and we're sorry for the way we handled this, as well as the way we communicated it. We understand where you're coming from, and we're making immediate changes.
I can already tell within the first few seconds this is insanely scripted. Why is he acting so smug while he's reading his script? It doesn't make much sense to me. He's like fighting a smile the whole time he's talking about it. It's just so weird. You can tell they don't really care.
First, we want to affirm that You are the reason why we've been able to do anything at this company. You helped us every step of the way when we left BuzzFeed to start Watcher at the top of the pandemic in 2020.
You've supported us in so many ways by watching our content, attending our live shows, buying our merch, becoming members of our Patreon, and giving words of encouragement over the years. And we are incredibly grateful for your support.
He talks about how awesome their audience is and, thanks them and is suddenly much more appreciative of their support. Talking about the fact that they really held them down when they left BuzzFeed and went to their own channel, that a lot of people followed them over, and he was basically just thanking them for that. But it's too little too late. You did something that upset almost all of your audience, and then you're going to just act like walking it back is going to change anything. It's not. They already know now that you only care about money and that the actual content you're making for your audience, it's not about making content anymore. It's about what you can get for making that content.
We're sorry for how we originally delivered our goodbye message to YouTube. It was insensitive. We didn't properly express how much we appreciate all of you. And we did a really bad job of explaining the reasoning behind this transition.
They then start apologizing for a bunch of different things. So first they apologized for the way they delivered the news, which, yeah, it was pretty bad. It was insensitive, definitely. And then they talk about the fact that they didn't talk enough about their fans or how much their support matters to them, which, yeah, the entire video is about you guys, the negatives of your job, and how much better things are going to be when you guys ditch your whole audience and get some paid audience instead. And yeah, it was just really not good. They talk about the fact that they did a bad job of explaining the reasoning for why they're going to be streaming on the platform instead of staying on YouTube. And the reason for that, in my opinion, is because there's nothing that can justify that. You cannot justify having had free content for that many years and then suddenly everybody that wants to watch anything that you make has to pay for it. It's just not feasible. Most people that have had that amount of free content are not going to pay you for it. It's just not something that would happen, and also you don't make enough content for that to even be a thing anyway. None of it makes sense logistically, and I don't know, I guess they just have a really big ego and they see themselves as much bigger than they actually are, because otherwise this whole thing doesn't make any sense.
We also want to deeply apologize for our ignorance around the impact of the cost. We regret stating and implying that it's a price that anybody can afford, and we fully acknowledge that it is not. We didn't take the proper consideration for how this cost would affect you, and hope you know that we are taking this as a serious learning experience.
They then have Steven apologize for thinking that $6 is affordable to most people, because it just isn't. They're well off, so they think $6 isn't a lot, but it is. It is to somebody who's struggling. And people watch YouTube because it's free. Now, they may have to watch some ads to watch it, but it's not a monetary cost. The moment it is monetary value that you have to give up for something, especially if you had it free before, it's over for most people at that point. They can't justify the cost. And even if they can afford it, they don't want to spend it because you're not getting enough back for the money you're giving. There's just not enough demand for this content or enough content being made by them for it to be sustainable. The fact that they thought $6 is affordable to most people is just them being ignorant to the state of the world. And they're saying all these different things that you hear in all these scripted apologies, like taking accountability and learning from your mistakes. Like, we're hearing all of the buzzwords that most people would want an apology. The entire thing is scripted. I don't think a single word that they said came from their own brain as they were talking. I think that they were all reading off of a script because it's just so rigid and stilted and just very by the book. I really think they don't feel this way. They don't even really care that they hurt up and upset people. They just are in crisis mode, PR crisis mode, because everybody is talking about them right now in a negative way.
With that in mind, we're making some changes to ensure that there's a way for our community to continue watching our content for free.
If you want to watch our shows early and ad-free, you can catch them on the Watcher platform a month earlier. After that, you'll be able to watch our shows on YouTube for free. For those that have already subscribed to the platform, we are so grateful for your support. But if this change has you rethinking your membership, we will issue a full refund. And all past episodes and series will remain available on YouTube.
So the main part of this video is them discussing the changes that they made to the platform. They're still doing it. They're still doing Watcher TV, which I think is a terrible idea, but they're still doing it. And instead of having it so that all of their content gets uploaded there and you have to pay there to watch it, it'll now just be like an early access thing. So you will get videos a month early if you pay to be a part of their platform. So after 1 month of it being uploaded on the platform, that's when they'll upload it to YouTube. So anybody that still wants to watch their content can. It's just going to be a month behind. So that still is a little weird to me because you have a Patreon. Isn't that what Patreon is for? You can do that with Patreon. Why do you need to create an entire streaming platform just for early access? That makes no sense to me. If they would have made a nicer and more down-to-earth and relatable video in the beginning instead of the one that we got, where they talked about it being early access, paying extra to get it earlier, then I think it could have gone down better. Now, some people probably still wouldn't have liked it, but I think it would have gone down better and it would not have been such a major controversy as it is now. They also announced that if anybody is questioning whether they want to stay subscribed and have already paid the monthly or yearly subscription for Watcher TV, that they can get a refund and they just have to reach out. They also mentioned that all of their episodes currently on YouTube are going to stay. They're not actually removing their entire content library anymore to move it over. It's going to stay on YouTube, and everything that they make going forward will be posted to YouTube eventually, just late.
As for the question of why we decided to launch our own platform, when we started Watcher in 2020, we wanted to create shows that we were proud of, that we had ownership over, and that would provide you the caliber of content that we felt you deserved. However, we were finding it harder and harder to stay relevant to advertisers and the constantly changing YouTube landscape.
Ryan then goes into their reasoning a little bit more for why they wanted to do this, and he says that they're having trouble staying relevant. Now, I thought that was weird because I looked at their channel, and the last 10 videos, including the original announcement video and the update video we're talking about now, they all got 1 million views or more. All of them at least 1 million, and most of them were more than 1 million, like 1.1 or 1.2 million. So they get a lot of views, and that doesn't seem irrelevant to me.
We faced some incredibly challenging decisions. We didn't want to compromise our content to ensure they met advertising requirements, and we definitely did not want to lay people off that have brought Watcher to life behind the scenes, and we didn't want to bring Watcher to a close, which would have happened if we stayed solely on YouTube.
They talk about having had to make a hard decision because they didn't want to make changes to their content just to please advertisers, but they also don't want to lay off all of the people that they hired. But I have a feeling they couldn't afford those people in the first place. That was just bad business decisions by whoever's in charge, hiring people they can't afford. Like, they could afford it in their budget, but then that money takes away from the content. And so the budget for their content got smaller and smaller as they hired more and more people. He says that they had to make a decision, and that if they didn't, then the Watcher channel was going to close for good, that they were going to stop making content. And I honestly think that is just a way to make their audience that is still on their side feel bad and try to convince them to still go and sign up for this, even though they're having a controversy. They're trying to make people feel bad, like, oh, the whole channel could end. If I want them to keep making content, I have to go pay for their streaming service. I don't think that's true. I think they're being really dramatic. And if they do have to close because they can't afford what they're doing anymore, it's because of the staff. I'm telling you, it has nothing to do with the content. They just hired way too many people. I think this is just one of many things that show that they were very unprepared to be running this kind of channel on their own. I think that at BuzzFeed, they got used to having a ton of people around them. They had as many people as they needed, like lots of staff to do any little things that they needed to do. And I think they got really used to that and they wanted to have that in their own space, but they couldn't afford it and they continued anyway. And so I think that they are actually tanking their own business and then trying to blame it on YouTube or on other things like advertisers when it has nothing to do with that whatsoever.
That's why we decided to launch the platform, so that we as a company could continue, we could pay our staff fairly, and not only continue to make great content for you, but expand with new shows, new voices, all ad-free. And now with the addition of accessible options, this is a decision that we all believe is the best for Watcher.
However, we realized that in figuring out the logistics of what this might take, we overlooked the way it would impact all of you. We hope you'll be patient with us through these mistakes, and we remain incredibly sorry that they were made in the first place.
And then after all of that they apologize for everything and discuss the situation, they still talk about wanting to hire new hosts and make new shows with them. I do not understand the delusional double talk that these men keep doing. You just said you can't afford the way things are going right now with the money that you're making from YouTube and Patreon, and that's why you made the new platform. But you're still saying you want to expand. I swear these guys expect that a business is always going to be growing, that it's just going to grow and grow and grow and grow. But that is not how business works. Businesses ebb and flow. They go up and down. There are changes in the markets. It's not as simple as you're always going to be expanding. I don't know why they think that. Maybe in their experience, they have constantly been on an upward trajectory, but that is not the experience of most other people, especially most businesses. And I think they're now starting to see the harsh realities of owning a business, and that's just much harder than they thought it was going to be. And I think they're having a hard time because they wanted to have a big staff of people, and now they're friends with those people and they can't fire them because they would feel bad. They're just in a really bad situation, and they are in it because they put themselves there.
We also want to directly address our Patreon community, who have played such a key role in supporting us from the very beginning. All current Patreon members will receive a free subscription code to the platform. If you already purchased a subscription, please contact us and we will issue you a full refund.
We look forward to continuing to make shows and introducing all the incredible things that we've got planned for the platform alongside YouTube. And in the meantime, we are forever grateful to all of the people who make up our community. And we hope that you consider joining us in this next chapter of our journey, whether that's on YouTube or on the platform.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Right at the end of this video, they finally mention their patrons. You know, they want people to pay to come to this platform, watch our TV, and they aren't even treating the people that pay them on Patreon correctly. So why would anybody want to go and pay for this streaming service? It makes no sense. But they go on to say, thank you so much for all you guys do, whatever. It's just like really too little too late. And then they finally announced that they're going to be giving codes to their patrons for a free subscription to the site, because they lost access to the things that they had been paying for on Patreon that would now be uploaded straight to the service. So they should have done that from the start. The people that are already paying you should have already gotten free access to that. They only did this as an afterthought because people were so pissed, especially because they all found out at the same time and not before everyone else, when they're paying to have that easy access. This whole situation was so baffling to me. I just could not believe that they would squander the audience they have. They upset their audience so bad that most of those people are probably never going to watch them again, even if they stay on YouTube. They really just did not care. They were so down to throw away their entire audience, leave them behind in the dust, and just try to cultivate a new audience that would pay them to view the exact same content they're already making. It was just insanely insensitive. It was entitled, and they have such big egos to think that they're famous enough and that the content they make is enough to be on its own streaming platform and that people have to pay to view it. I really don't understand why they thought that would work, and I know, even though they're keeping it open, that this is not going to go well for them. They're going to end up having to close it after a while because you have to pay to keep a website like that maintained and working. Eventually, it's not going to be enough income to pay for that website because I know that platform is not going to survive. It will not be around this time next year. It's just not possible. It's not sustainable for the amount that they make and the amount that they're charging. It's not going to work. But that's probably for the best because these people don't care about their audience. They only care about what their audience can do for them, and that means they don't deserve an audience to begin with. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Like this video if you liked it, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more of me. I'll see you next week. Have a great day, guys. Bye!